Good morning, folks. We're at 6 powerful X-class solar flares that have released coronal mass ejections at the Earth. Our last 4 videos covered the first 4 and the start of the 5th, and here we'll break down the totality of the event, the solar storm forecast, and more. Let's start with a shot of the big sunspots. This is a massive sunspot group with considerable magnetic complexity. Many Earths could fit inside this beast, and it has been quite the producer in terms of solar flares, one of the most prolific solar flaring outbursts in my 14-year tenure of watching the sun. These 6 fired the plasma at Earth, including the biggest one this morning on the right side, an X3 blast. Here's where we left off last night. 4 full halo coronal mass ejections we knew were coming our way. These first 4 will begin impacting tonight according to the models, but with the margin of error, could begin any time now. Then, we also showed the 5th flare, another X-class event that appeared to release plasma, and while the coronagraphs were not fully updated last night, they are now. Another full halo event. That makes 5, all expected to hit Earth before the end of the weekend. Then this morning, the biggest yet, an X3 eruption that also has a coronal shockwave ripple indicating plasma release. Still early, but the coronagraphs are keeping up. I see another full halo blast making 6 full halo eruptions in about 2 days. All will strike the Earth, but you may notice that Noah's Endel spiral hasn't changed from yesterday. They are still only showing the first couple events on here, but folks, a full halo blast is a full halo blast. And while some may merge, combining into shared impacts, all 6 are heading this way. As I said, impacts could begin at any time. They will continue through the next 2 to 2.5 days, and the geomagnetic storm conditions will last 4 or 5 days, and perhaps even a bit longer with the reverberations. This was our forecast probabilities for solar storm level that will be reached as of last night, but as we jump from 4 to 6 near certain impacts, percentages are going up. We have the highest marks I've ever given for major issues from solar storms, which we broke down in detail in last night's video. I am also upping the chances for these lesser impacts up to the solar killshot level. Still not expecting us to have that global EMP level event, but with Earth's weakening magnetic field, this risk must be acknowledged. Speaking of which, NOAA came out and made a statement that this is the first level 4 extreme storm watch in almost 20 years, since 2005. This is newsworthy, but also a bit of self-snitching, since we've taken many since that time, including 3 this solar cycle and 1 already this year. I have to wonder if at any point they're going to catch on to how much more vulnerable our planet is with the magnetic pole shift ongoing, and how much higher the storm levels are reaching than they're expecting. Aurora could reach low latitudes this weekend, folks. Impact after impact coming. See last night's video for more detailed solar storm effect information, and we greatly appreciate your support. We're watching all day, and if any significant updates are needed, we'll bring them right here. But right now, it's 5:30 a.m. in the new Valley of the Sun. Eyes open. No fear.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is definitely, well, the numbers coming out bigger than anything recorded in modern history. And the latest numbers are coming in now. More coronal mass ejections are forming in the direct area pointed directly at Earth. So we're going to probably get up to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're at 6 already. This is, and I'm no scientist. I just study all this. I can go outside. That sucker's white hot right now. White hot. It's white. And if you ever go outside, you look at the light. You're like, I was out there just before we went on air. And I was like, what the hell's going on? I mean, it's wild out there right now. It's white.
Wow.
Remember, you're younger than I, but it's only the last 15 years or so that this happened. Remember when the sun used to be yellow even at like high noon?
Yeah.
It's been white for 5 years.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and it's interesting. I wonder how this ties in specifically to the cyber attack stuff that we've been experiencing. You know, back in October, they were talking about solar activity being responsible for cellular outages. But the thing that's bizarre about that was that I believe only AT&T was affected. So my thinking just logically would be that if it was solar activity in the last fall, that it would have impacted all the carriers equally. Do you think that they're planning some sort of a cyber attack, or they're expecting some sort of a cyber attack from Russia or China?
Oh, they've been hyping it and blaming Russia. Guys, did you find the Klaus Schwab clip? All right. Yeah, we're pulling it in now. Yeah, well, Klaus Schwab has been betting everything on. It looked like a minor inconvenience covered next to a power outage or cyber attack, but then I've got the congressional report from last year, all of it, saying this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's not like I believe them. Amateur astronomers, universities have these. You can see this is record sunspots aimed right at us.
Has there been any preparation in terms of infrastructure? I mean, you would think
no, since the 70s, they've had a bunch of commissions in Congress. I'll show them to you. I printed it all. We've always over-prepared. I could go over it all, but they've done nothing. There's like 6 major, you argue 4 to 6, but there's really a dozen or so. But there's 6 major systems that shift and control the power in the United States, not to mention the world. And for $4 billion, they could harden those and block them from a huge amount of electromagnetic radiation coming in that goes into conductive systems that are meant to transmit energy, and it melts them. So you could harden those, and then be able to rebuild very quickly. If you don't do that, those systems melt down and blow up.
You just have to rebuild everything from the
And
ground.
you were asking, what is a Carrington event? Let's go over this right now. So here's the reporting last year by NOAA and by NASA and by the EU and by the International Space Weather Association. Severe solar storm could trigger northern lights as far south as Alabama Friday night. Here is the latest report from last year. Congressional mandated research plan and initial research governance framework related to solar radiation modification. And I read the report again this morning. They were really worried about it by this year, saying the sun was increasing its coronal mass ejections. Here is the Carrington event, 1859. Most of the telegraph wires in Canada, the U.S., were melted on the line, red and then white hot, and just melted because so much electromagnetic energy came in and they were conductive, it melted them. So there's a Carrington event. The Carrington event, history's greatest solar storm. Now, they don't have a bunch of science on this, just photos of it from telescopes, and they know what it did. And what has happened now, yesterday was as big, just visually, and now it's way bigger, guaranteed. Now, the question is, will it hit us? It's like a rifle from 90+ million miles away aimed at us. We're like a little speck of dust. Will it directly hit us? If it glances off, we'll have some issues, but if it misses us, but it's coming our way. And the problem is, the sun's not going pew, pew, all over. It's all over the sun. They're having coronal mass ejections at record level. NASA's like, whoa, last year we better watch out. It's going crazy, but most of those shoot off in other directions. It's right there in the southern quadrant, a little bit below the equator. See all that? Mm-hmm. That's aimed right at us. That's the Carrington event hit us at that exact spot. That's pointed right at us.
It's like a laser beam that just happens to be right in our trajectory.
It is a laser beam. Yeah, exactly. But of plasma and heat. So here's the Carrington event here, overhead shot on Wikipedia. You can read all about it. Not that I trust Wikipedia, but in general science, they don't get it wrong. And it shows what it did from just photographs, black and white, hooked up to telescopes. And then you compare that again to the level. Yesterday, it had already reached Carrington event. But they said, well, we hope it doesn't hit us, but it's aimed at us. Now it's way beyond Carrington event in its explosive power. What is the Carrington event, the largest solar storm ever recorded? What if it happened today? That's last year.